Mission: impossible. Rogue Nation opens mid-mission with Ethan hanging off the side of a moving cargo plane like it's his Uber and he's too polite to knock on the door. This isn't CGI. Tom Cruise really did it, which means this stunt was also known as how many insurance executives can faint in one day. The IMF is in trouble. A creepy British guy named Solomon Lane leads the Syndicate, which is basically the IMF if it had no ethics, no rules, and also a much better dental plan. Hunt wakes up and realizes he's tied to a pole. Janik Winter tortures him, but Syndicate operative Ilsa Faust helps Ethan escape, and much to the dismay of the other operatives, the escape is successful. In America, Brandt is brought before a committee that includes Alan Hunley. Hunley believes that the IMF's results are only luck, and their destructive methods have caused various misconducts, despite the IMF's innocence of the Kremlin bombing having already been proven. Hunley orders Hunt to be captured, as he is now a wanted man. 6 months later, with the help of his assistant Lauren, Hunley interrogates Dunn but cannot determine that he knows Hunt's location. Hunt sends Dunn some tickets to catch a performance of Turandot in Vienna. Ethan just goes full spy fugitive, popping up around the world like a Where's Waldo who can kill you with a chair. Ethan tracks Lane to Vienna's opera house, where assassins are planning to kill the Austrian chancellor. We get a fight in the rafters, where Ethan has to stop multiple assassins at once while avoiding falling into the orchestra pit and ruining everyone's night. He manages to save the chancellor for about 5 minutes, before the guy's car explodes. Classic Ethan. Ethan's next plan: infiltrate an underwater vault to steal a flash drive. Yes, this man nearly dies for what is essentially a high-security thumb drive. Oh, and it's kept in a giant spinning turbine of death that requires him to hold his breath for 3 minutes. Benji is waiting with scuba gear, but of course Ethan blacks out, nearly drowns, and only survives because Ilsa saves him, proving that in this franchise, women rescue Ethan about as often as he rescues them. They retrieve the ledger, but Ilsa knocks Benji out and rides off with the ledger, evading both Hunt and the Syndicate. After an intense motorcycle chase, Ilsa escapes with the ledger, much to Hunt's dismay. Dunn had made a copy of the file, but it is impossible to access the file, which is a digital red box, a security measure used by the British government to transport state secrets. Without the biometrics of the British Prime Minister himself, they realize that Lane intends to capture the PM. Ilsa returns to London, passing the file on to her handler, Atlee. It is revealed that she is in fact an MI6 agent. However, Atlee discreetly erases the file, forcing Ilsa to return to the Syndicate and prove her loyalty to its leader, Solomon Lane, who Hunt knows as the Man in Glasses. Regrouping with Brandt and Stickel, Hunt and Dunn follow Ilsa back to London, question what to do next as they cannot be sure that Lane has not anticipated and moved to manipulate them. When Dunn is abducted by Lane's men, Hunt realizes that Lane will always have a plan to acquire the files, and that the only sure way to stop him is to force a confrontation with him. He agrees to Lane's ultimatum to abduct the British Prime Minister and use his biometrics to unlock the file. As part of Hunt's plan, Brandt contacts Hunley and reveals their location. Hunley arrives at a charity auction in Oxfordshire to try and prevent Hunt from attacking the Prime Minister and take him with Brandt and Atlee to a secure room. Brandt has the Prime Minister confirm the existence of the Syndicate, a top-secret black project that sought to recruit disavowed foreign operatives to carry out clandestine missions. Atlee then reveals himself as Hunt in disguise and injects the PM with truth serum to secure his biometrics. When the real Atlee arrives, Hunt injects him with truth serum as well and forces him to admit that he began the Syndicate without the PM's permission. Lane hijacked the project for his own ends and went rogue, and Atlee has been desperately covering up its existence, including using Faust. Hunley, the CIA guy who spent the whole movie trash-talking IMF, has to admit Ethan was right all along, which is, in IMF terms, the same as a marriage proposal. Ilsa gets her big fight scene, while Ethan and Benji run through London playing Catch Me If You Can with Lane. They trap Lane alive, which is sweet justice, because instead of dying dramatically, he now has to sit in a box thinking about how much he hates Ethan Hunt. Hunley reinstates the IMF, Benji gets his field agent badge, and Ethan smiles like a man who knows retirement is still not an option. Lesson: if you want Ethan Hunt dead, maybe stop giving him expensive architecture to climb on.